Hi guys, how are you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com and elearntarot.com, and today we are going to look at the Ten of Swords, which is associated with Sun in Gemini. This is our Decan Walk that we're continuing, and the dates for this particular Decan are from the 11th of June to the 20th of June. So, Sun in Gemini. So, let's get down to it. Let's understand what the energy is of the Decan itself. So, let's look at the image from the Picatrix Decan's deck. Let's I'm sorry, I missed this one out. This is the third and the last decan of Gemini. It goes from 21st to the 30th degree of Gemini, and this is where this whole Gemini energy kind of wraps up. What we see here in the description is a man wearing a shield and carrying a bow and arrow in its case. So this is a collage deck, so you're going to see a lot of creativity here. We see these sort of chains drawn on this man. So he's wearing that shield, the chain mail shield in a way, and he's carrying these bow and arrow in their case. And that could be, connection with Gemini, because Gemini is an air sign and air is connected with thoughts in our tarot. But, the imagery is always there. Thoughts can be sharp like arrows, of course, like swords. We also see the sun kind of, embossed in the background. We also see the image of Apollo, the sun god here, sort of, with his radiance and everything happening. So yeah, we have sun, we have Gemini, and the meaning or the energy associated with this particular decan is of overlooking something, missing what should be noticed. Fun and entertainment and unemployment. It's a mixed bag, but what do you expect with Gemini, right? If you look at the image from the Telos tarot deck, we have this Ten of Swords here. We have ruin. That's the keyword. It's very interesting, and we will kind of go into it when we look at the card itself towards when we get to the Ten of Swords. But here we have this man, who's wearing a shield. The chain mail is the shield, and he has these bows and arrows in the case, and sort of he's hunting, and this person is killed. Oh, this is Castor and Pollux from the myth of Gemini, I believe, right? Like, I remember I talked about it the last time. One is mortal, one is immortal, and so I guess, yeah. So anyway, we'll discuss more when we get to the card. But yeah, we have this image here: the man in the shield carrying the bow and arrow. It's here present in this image itself. Okay, so this is the Decan. This is what the energy is about. Okay, stuff that you didn't really see and you're overlooking something. That seems to be something that catches my eye here. All right, so let's move forward. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, we have the planet, the sun. We've looked at the sun before. The sun is the center of the solar system, and from there we have, the light of the sun is what sort of gives life to everything on Earth, more or less. It's life, light, all of that, and all these different planets, they basically orbit the sun. So the sun is like the center, and towards that end, one of the meanings, obviously, with the sun is ego. Sun wants to be the center of everything. Sun has this whole radiance. It has this sort of vitality and life force because it best bestows that to all of us. It is about willpower, stamina. It can be about pride and self-worth. It can be about individuality, identity, expression, father, right? And on the extreme end, this one can be about vanity, arrogance, and seeking attention. The sun, really, anybody with that kind of sun energy wants to be the center of attention, strives to be the center of attention. And Sun is a fire sign, and it is the ruler of the zodiac of Leo. So that's the Sun energy, right? And the tarot cards that feature the Sun are, it's associated with the Sun card. So not much confusion there. All these cards, you see this big bright sun, right? Right there. You can't miss it, right? Have that sun sort of shining bright. In the Thoth and in the Telos, you will also see these different zodiac sign symbols around it, right? Here we also have the sun with the chariot. Many different myths across the world have a story that the sun rides a chariot. It's driven by, I believe, at least 7 horses, and they take that chariot from, east to west, and then the sun goes to sleep, or the next morning it's back again. I mean, it is very interesting because that's a very simplistic, straightforward explanation before, the science sort of happened, but it's kind of cute. It's very, nice. It's a story, right? And stories are what sustain us. Stories are what drive us. So yeah, we have that sun energy. We have the beautiful bright light sort of coming out of it. In all these 3 cards, in the Marseille and Thoth and the Telos, you'll see 2 children sort of benefiting from the radiance of this light. And either they are talking, connecting, playing, or sort of, cuddling and going to sleep, taking a nap. It's cute. It's nice. In the Rider-Waite, though, we have the little child, we have a horse. That's his friend. And, we have sunflowers, which again, there's a story of this maiden who fell in love with the sun god. And when the sun god was like, nah, sorry, no, her devotion was basically, she kept looking at him. And so ultimately became transformed into a sunflower that follows the path of the sun through the sky. And so sunflower becomes a symbol of devotion. That is also a different kind of love, right? So we have these images here. We have the little child with this little feather. We see this playful energy. The orange flag is a symbol of enthusiasm. We see this bright sun dominating. That's the ego there. That's like, look at me. The attention seeking energy of the sun is right there. We have this sort of duality represented by these 2 children, and this, it could be conscious, unconscious, it could be black, white, right, wrong, all sorts of opposites. We have that here too, in a way. We don't see the gender of the child. We just see the child. It could be any gender, really. We also see this child on the horse, so maybe that's the duality there, the energy of, moving forward, being playful. So we have all this, beautiful energy going on. It's this clarity, joy, enthusiasm, breaking through barriers, embarking on the adventure. This is about healing, creativity, playfulness, prosperity, masculine energies, happiness, enjoyment, high spirits, overcoming hurdles, yes, freedom, glory, life, light, creative force, health, joy, truth, illumination. So it's all of that. There's so many different ways that this energy is expressed, and that's your sun. That's a sun energy. So then let's look at Gemini. Again, we've looked at Gemini before, so we go quick through this. Gemini is about duality. And so, we have this image of 2 flowers and 2 bees. This is cross-pollinate. That is the keyword here. But anything where there is a 2, where there are 2 things, whether they are supposed to be twins, but then one is different, one is mortal, one is immortal, Castor and Pollux. But here in this Gemini duality, we always, what can happen between these 2, right? What is the different ways that this cross-pollination can happen? There'll be connections, networks, brotherhood, community, communication, humor, wit, words, dialogues. Because again, this is an air sign, so all of that happens. Conversations, expression, information, analytical, back and forth. there'll be gossip. It's intelligent and now adaptable. See, now things start to change because um, because there are two different sides, as they say, two different perspectives. Gemini can go from, jump from each side, one and to the other. So they can see different perspectives, they can see both sides of the story, and they can often express it also that way. So they often come across as, deceptive or cunning or superficial or shallow. They can be people who have, doubt. They can lack individuality because, again, they cannot figure out which side they stand on because they see both sides. This is again ruled by Mercury, so no surprises there. This air sign ruled by an air planet. It's gonna be all over the place, right? This is heady energy, right? And it can be very interesting and also sometimes a little jarring dealing with Gemini, depending on when and how you encounter them. But that's the energy of Gemini. It's always about the opposites and the connections, the jumping around between those opposites, how that happens, how that takes place. So, in the tarot, we see this duality represented in the form of two figures. We have in the Rider-Waite-Smith, we see the man and the woman, the Adam and Eve duality happening. In the Marseille Tarot, we have a man with these two women that he has to kind of choose from, the older woman, the mother, representing the mother that he has to walk away from, and the younger woman representing his wife that he has to go be with. In your thought, we now have this couple sort of uniting, marrying, right? There's a ceremony there. They're getting blessed by the priest here. So we have, again, one represents consciousness, one represents, the inner and the outer sort of consciousness. We have these children also representing that, and they are also coming together. So there's the sort of union of opposites energy here. Meanwhile, here we have this in the Telos Tarot. This is a prophet, and this, we have these boys who are sort of sacred, to the priestess, and so one is a priestess, one is a harlot. Again, two different versions of femininity, and we have the prophet coming in, sort of, with the prophecy and sort of, saying what to have, what's going to happen, and two different ways that this feminine energy is expressed, and we have that going on here. So there's that duality, and there's always a figure up here on top, sometimes two figures, Cupid and priest, who are there and to bless or to sort of officiate or make this happen, right? So this duality does come through here, but then in the Lovers card, they try to find the harmony also because, with the number 6 energy coming into play, harmony has to happen. So they try to harmonize that duality in this card image here. And that's where the relationship sort of springs from, if you will. Okay. So when we look at Sun in Gemini, and this is a card from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, here we kind of see a very interesting expression of it. The keyword they have assigned is versatility, and it's kind of nice because with Gemini you have that mind that flits from one end to the other, seeing all different sides. And with Sun, there's that shining, glowing, expressive energy. This one is also about expression. So what happens is versatility comes in. All kinds of expression happens. Versatile expressions happen. Mm, in the book, they've said Sun. The keyword they've given is fortune. For Gemini, it's mental awareness. So fortune and mental awareness come together. What's going to happen, right? Good things only. So we have communication, expression, words start to become important, mind becomes quick, right? The Sun powers that. Sun is fire, Gemini is air. Both elements sort of, empower each other because fire burns with air, and excessive air can sort of spread the fire. So fire and air are potent in a way. They need each other, but then they also sort of spread each other. Um, we have someone who is mentally, emotionally very flexible, has an open mind, someone who is a jack of all trades, if you will. But these people, they need freedom to act and move. And that's the Gemini and Sun together, right? Sun also he's his own master, right? The whole world revolves around him. He's not going to listen to anybody. So he needs this freedom. Gemini obviously loves that. So together, they definitely need all the freedom. You cannot pin them down. They will take quick decisions, and they need or they love to impress others. On the shadow side, they can waste a lot of energy running around in all directions all at once. All that excessive sun energy paired together with the excessive Gemini energy, it's everywhere. They can be intellectually arrogant, the arrogance coming from the sun, the intellect from Gemini putting together. They can force ideas and unwanted information on others. So we actually see a very interesting picture of this combination. You know, when we don't look at the imagery of the tarot and we just look at Sun and Gemini together, this is the energy that, you know, this deck expresses here. It's pretty interesting, right? Now let's look at the number real quick. Now see, normally in numerology, the journey starts at 0 and ends with 9, right? 0 to 9. However, we do have a 10 in our tarot. And 10, if you see, is an interesting amalgamation of 1 and 0. If we add these two numbers, it still is 1, right? But then the power of 0, you should not, it's not something that you can ignore away. So 0 is this energy that is there from before anything is manifested. 0 represents that energy. It is nothingness, it is also allness. It's everything is held within that 0 potential raw, and you don't know how it's going to manifest, right? It is the raw material of creation. Everything is unmanifested, and you know, we don't know. It's like possibilities are unlimited. And then the one here, when the one energy happens, it's about beginnings, it's about seed, it's about instigation, it's about starting something. That is the energy. So when you have unmanifested potential here of everything, and now it meets with the energy of you know, the beginnings and origins, and sort of let's go, let's start something, let's seed something, what's going to happen, right? It's going to empower, they're going to empower each other, and the potential and the seed are going to merge. Now, when we see that in the 10, we also have to consider that in the journey from 1 to 9, where 9 has been the energy of sort of culmination, when you're pushing it, you're taking that unmanifested potential and you're adding a seed into it, and you're pushing it. After the journey has culminated, now you want to push it and say, oh, let's still put something in there, let's add something in there. So this is where, you know, things get pushed to the excess, to the extreme. So be it success or failure, be it completion or culmination, that energy gets pushed to the extreme. So now, you know, the success becomes extra successful, and the failure can become extreme failure. And so whether, you know, then you can either start accumulating everything, you know, all the potential is accumulated so that into that seed, or it dissolves completely into that nothingness. So that number then becomes the sort of number of the cycles of ascent and descent. So both ends come and meet here, right? And that's why this is the number of transitions. So from here, you could go either to 1, you could go to 0, you could go back to 9, 8, wherever you want. Another different perspective calls 10 the rebirth of 1, because where 1 is, you know, because with this potential of 0, it can climb the highest peaks. But we also see that 1 energy also, and along with that 0, makes it focused on the earthly paths. It fails to see heavenly heights because, again, it's pushing everything further. And having gone through the entire cycle from 1 to 9, here now in 10, they retain the individuality, but then they also create a partnership with the world. So the energy is that 1 is self seeking, but 10 is self aware, right? 10 knows what it's doing, and it kind of takes on this unlimited potential and wants to harness it. But, the journey is already over. So what are you going to do? You're going to push it. That is the energy of 10. So everything goes to the extreme, right? Pushing it beyond the culmination stage. It's like the extra episode at the end of the series when they've had the happy ending, but then the fans are crazy, and now there's another episode, and then we have to see them live through the happy ending, and then some sort of manufactured crisis just to show us how their love is still strong, etc. You know how it is. If anybody has watched any kind of romantic Korean dramas, it's annoying. It is there. Fan service, I believe they call it. So yeah, that's the 10 energy. If you can understand, that's a different way I see it. All right, so let's look at our tarot cards because that's what we're here for. How is Sun in Gemini expressed in your 10 of Swords? Oh, right. So let's start. With the Rider-Waite-Smith, we have the figure of this warrior, this person sort of lying on the ground, 10 swords stuck in his back. He's bleeding out. There's a water body, and then there's a little sunrise, and there's a dawn happening, the night's fading. It's at once, a sad and a hopeful image all at once. We also see him, with if you sort of close in on these fingers, if you look at your own sort of 10 of Swords card, he's got these 2 fingers like holding them together in the sign of benediction. It's like, I finally understand. It's like it's a blessing. This is the blessing. Now, with those 10 swords stuck in his back, it's like he's a pincushion and he can't move. He has been rendered immobile, right? And then we have all this water here. Now, Sun, Gemini, there's no water energy in this story here, but in this card, we have this water here. Could represent the consciousness, right? Now, Sun and Gemini both sort of dwell in that realm of the consciousness too, because, air and fire, they're an aspect of that consciousness too. So this is feelings, emotions, the consciousness, the swords being all the different thoughts, the painful thoughts, the Gemini thoughts that were all over the place. But now what has happened is because they have been all over the place and they have had their own sort of point to make, they have made that point in a very painful manner. And because when you have way too many perspectives coming into play, you can't move. You're stuck. Now, where will you go? Right? But that's where this person at the end of it realizes that this none of this matters. 10 is also pushing this to the extreme, right? 10 is saying, hey, already the story was sorted in a way, culminated in the 9 of Swords, but here we are, we won this 10 of Swords. So now let's push it. And it is at this point he realizes that, this can be a blessing too. As the new day dawns, right? As the sun rises in the distance, and that's your sun there. And this is the Gemini energy here with all this extra excessive thinking with the 10. He realizes that, listen, sometimes when we are at that point where everything is excessively there, that's when you realize that none of this makes any sense. None of this has any value. And none of this really plays any role. Ultimately, when you get there, you realize it's meaningless, it's pointless, it's just unnecessary. And this pain, this hardship, this suffering. Maybe it's self-created, maybe it's, stuff that others have thrown at us. All this pain, all this suffering, we are the one carrying it. We are the one who have to shed it. If we keep carrying it, this is where we'll end up. And it's up to us to get rid of this. It's nobody else's responsibility. And that's the clarity that he gets, I think. At least that's what I have always sensed from this card. Okay. Now let's look at the Marseille Tarot. We have, the basic image of this Eight of Swords here, right? With these two budding, flowers outside of that enclosure. So, we are looking at sort of a restricted energy, something that is enclosing you within, thought patterns that kind of wrap around you and are slowly sort of choking you off, and they're interlaced here, right? And this light blue can be spiritual, but then it's like sometimes you can even see it like when you have so many different thought patterns that are interconnected, that on the surface can have good origins or higher level origins, philosophical origins, all of that. But when they kind of interlace with each other, they create that sort of mental enclosure that restricts you ultimately. And then we have these two swords coming in, right? They're trying to perhaps break that logic, rational, intellectual enclosure, but they get caught in it too. Because again, being swords, they're engaging with it. They are, they're mentally trying to solve it. They are using logic to beat the logic, if you will. They are trying to use the power of the mind to break the enclosure of the mind, if you will, that restrictive enclosure. But in this process, they get caught within the trap of the mind as well. And this can be exhausting, right? So, yeah, we have exhaustion, we have combats and clashes that neutralize each other. We have a complex issue with many conflicting interests, which needs a very sophisticated approach to solve, right? They In the book it says find an ally to confront the situation from a different angle. It's a very interesting meaning. But see, that is what this image portrays. So when you get this card, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be a solution that has no solution. There is just no answer here. If you're going to use logic here, you will not solve it. If you're going to use passion here, you're not going to solve it. There is just no way to solve it. This is a stuck spot. And if you get into it trying to solve it, you yourself will end up having conflicting perspectives which will clash with each other, and you'll get sort of caught in this trap. It's like a labyrinth which has no outlet. And the fourth image like truly shows us what happens. All these swords come at each other and they are cracking and breaking. We see the light of the sun in the background there. We also see maybe a little heart here that's kind of being slashed at. But yeah, we do see all this here. It's just the keyword is ruin, and yeah, makes sense, right? All these different ideas, and again, this shape is if you remember the Kabbalah tree of life, this shape reminds us of that. So it's like ultimately everything, all these different perspectives that the Gemini energy represents, right? Each may be clear, each may be giving or each may be providing a different perspective, sure, right? Something clear, something great, something amazing. But when they all come together, they kill each other, or they dash each other, they destroy each other. It's like opposing energies coming at each other, and negate each other out. And while all these perspectives have merit and value in and of themselves, but to bring them together and to sort of unite them as one is not possible. That will only break everything and create ruin. So we're looking at destructive forces, the end, total destruction, breakdown, sudden losses, endings, failures. It's the ruin. It's like the mental ruin. It's like many things that come together, many thought processes that come together that have held their own, in their journey, but now they meet their opposite and they are both destroyed. And now you see this story here. This is Castor and Pollux, right? One twin has to die, and if swords or twins or the duality is like choices, right? So one has to go away, and so what remains is the choice you have. So one choice must die. Death followed by clarity, and then life, right? This is sacrifice. This is the end of a story, the audacity and boldness required, right? And this is also the end of the Decan of Gemini. Hmm? The last decan of Gemini. This is this card here. We do see all these 10 swords. We see this guy. He's gone. He's Castor, and then we have this warrior in the mail chain mail with the bow and arrow, and I believe he's Orion. He's now fighting and defending and killing and all the things. It's crazy. But yeah, we see this ruin here, right? So, out of these two opposites, one has to end for the remainder to have any value to go forward. At least here, I would say, it's painful, but then we still have some hope. But here maybe there is hope. So here the sun represents that hope, I suppose. So yeah, we have that energy here. Now, compare that with what we saw in the, here you go, in the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Here we have this acrobatic creature walking on her hands, right? That's her dexterity of everything, movement, right? Here we see a slightly positive energy to Sun and Gemini, right? We see it expressed in creative and mental freedom and openness. And we also see it like going all over the place kind of a thing. But here in this particular image in the Ten of Swords, we see how the thoughts, because and this has been sort of my complaint for a long time, that the suit of swords in the tarot is decidedly sort of it just leans towards I'm not gonna ever maybe one or two cards, but maybe the ace, but then everything else after that, it's like, nope, we're gonna show you that all everything to do with the mind is bad, can cause pain. It kind of leans that way. But yeah, with the Ten of Swords, this image can sort of push it there, and with 10, everything is pushing it, so we are there. I think that makes sense. It makes sense. But yeah, remember there are two sides, right? The Oracle of the Oracle of Radiant Sun shows a different picture of Sun and Gemini, and the tarot shows a very different picture, but both make sense. Both make sense. And you know what? In Gemini, it makes sense ultimately. Gemini, both sides will have equal value. Both perspectives will be good. We are here in Ten of Swords, aren't we? All right, so the supporting cast, of course, we have, I think this is the last of the Ace and Page of Pentacles, because from Cancer onwards, we will have, I believe, Ace and Page of Wands. But yeah, we have these guys doing their hard work, the Ace and the Page, sort of, bringing in that earthy energy, the grounding that is necessary, the seeds for manifesting and so forth, and the sort of diligent, careful energy that is necessary to take it forward. Now, the third court card does change here. We have the Queen of Cups, and she's water of water, She is very feminine. She is all about her feelings and emotions and intuitions, right? And she's about this very rich inner world. So see now, where with Gemini, we know that, mentally there can be multiple perspectives. Here, the Queen of Cups comes in and says, hey, just because I'm not saying anything or not really showing anything doesn't mean that, within the sphere of emotions, feelings, perspectives, they don't exist. She has them. Here, the Marseille Queen also has a sword because she uses that to protect herself, right? Both the Marseille and the Rider-Waite Queens, their cups are sort of closed, so that talks about how they protect their feelings and the emotions. They shield them. They guard them. Right? There's a very intense intuition, creation energy here. Again, if it goes to the negative side, this can be misused, this can be manipulated, this can talk about emotional breakdowns or the inability to heal from something traumatic that happened in the past, right? Because again, she's a very emotionally driven woman, and so she holds so much within herself. That's why she's always on the edge of the water, right? Feelings. She's like one step and she'll be all over the place with her feelings, right? Here too, we see these beautiful lotuses. We see this beautiful, it's like this queen. She has sort of melted in the background. We see the is this the stork? Yeah, and we see all this beautiful imagery here: sensitivity, devotion, inspiration. Here too, we see this beautiful, beautiful imagery. Oh, the moon energy, of course, right? Intuitive, dreamy, imaginative, sensitive. She protects herself, but since she understands that, as an empath, she needs that protection too. So yeah, this energy is important, I believe, with Sun and Gemini, where the fire and the air are sort of, just pushing each other, and just everything is a crazy blazing inferno of madness, heartache, pain, everything. This Queen of Cups brings all that water, and she's able to douse that fire and calm that storm. And maybe that's the water from the Ten of Cups card also. It's that little pool of the Queen of Cups. Hmm. Right? So let's put it together. Here we have the Ten of Swords. It's about suffering, it's about breakdown, it's about exhaustion, it's about defeat, it's destruction, it's clashes, it's everything that's, where you take your extreme Gemini, here you go, Gemini energy, the duality of everything. By itself, Gemini can be good, it can be sort of harnessed to bring harmony, and we do see that here in the tarot imagery. And the sun energy can be playful, joyful, nice. The clarity is good to have, and here we see a good sort of way that this energy manifests. With all the thoughts, flexible expression, all of that, open mind. But here is what the other side of the picture, right? And this 10 energy of excessive everything, the accumulation and the dissolution, it's all here, it all comes in. And your your ace page and now this Queen of Cups, they come together to support that. They bring that energy here. And this Decan energy coming together. That makes sense. Wow. This is your Ten of Swords, right? So I hope this made sense. I hope the connections came together for you. And I hope that this video uh, is helpful for your study in your Decan Walk. I will see you again in a few days with the next Decan video. I think it's the Two of Cups. We have Venus in Cancer in that one, so that'll be interesting. Some new cards down here, right? and of course here as well. So that should be fun. Right on. So I will see you in my next video. Until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.